Early voting in California begins on October 7th, and 10 propositions will be on the ballot. One could affect how much you pay for rent.
More. A whole lot more.
Now, the measure has even split LA County Board Supervisors. NBC4's Quinn Nolan explains Proposition 33.
It's a ballot measure which has thus far dominated the airwaves with ads both for and against Proposition 33, which relates directly to the issue of housing affordability.
The rent is too damn high.
33 would reduce construction of new affordable housing.
Under current California law, cities and counties can only impose rent control on units built before 1995. And even then, if a tenant leaves, the landlord can raise the rent to market levels.
Man, it's a free market.
Prop 33 would change that. It would allow local governments to impose rent control on any apartment building, regardless of when it was built, including homes.
We must stop it at all costs.
Susie Shannon is with the Yes on 33 campaign.
It's time to expand rent control in California.
It's time for you to go home.
As rents have gone up and become unaffordable, people can't afford them obviously any longer, which is why we have 181,000 people who are now homeless on the streets of California. And this actually will preserve affordable housing. This will preserve those rent-controlled units and people who need them, like seniors on a fixed income.
No, it won't, say opponents of the measure. Rather, they believe it will decrease incentives to build more apartments and, in turn, make affordability worse. Nathan Click is with the No on 33 campaign.
Almost all the academic research shows from MIT, Berkeley, Stanford all say that these type of policies will create shortages of housing, decrease the incentive to create more housing.
Having no place to live?
Yeah, more restrictions, more control. I mean, it's never going to stop. But I mean, let's put this in layman's terms. What does it really mean?
Well, it means that the government has no end, no end in sight of their regulations and what they want to control. I will tell you, rent control has failed everywhere it's been tried. It is absolutely restricts the number of units that can be on the market. It absolutely gives landlords no incentive to put more housing units on there. You're going to build an apartment complex for housing. You go through decades potentially of environmental inspections and environmental reviews, all of this. The locals don't want it, so they fight you in court for years. You finally get it. Oh, you got to put solar panels on the roof. You got to do all of this stuff. And then they come around and say, oh, you know what? You can only charge $1,000 a month for that two bedroom, one bath apartment, or $800 a month for that 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I don't know what the numbers are, but there is no incentive to build anything. And let me add this also, David. The vast majority of people who are homeless in California are homeless because of drug and mental illness issues, not because they can't afford rent. They blow all their money on drugs and alcohol. They need treatment. They need help. They don't need apartments where they can make their meth labs on the cheap. This is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. And I'll tell you, it's just going to cause housing to be way more unaffordable if they pass rent control.
So I think what you just said is it takes longer to get it, and it just gives them more control, and it's not enticing to investors because there's no profit.
Well, and think about this too. I personally knew of a guy, an elderly gentleman, I believe he was in his 70s, who lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in Berkeley by himself because his rent was controlled. He had no motivation to move out because his rent would have been higher if he moved to a studio or a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. He had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for decades that he had lived in with his family. And he's like, well, shoot, my rent's cheap. I'm not moving out of this thing. And so that caused a housing shortage because of issues like that. And it's just ridiculous what they think that the nanny state never ends. That's what drives me crazy.
Well, and if you're thinking about leaving, you need to give me or Terry a call. We'll send you a free copy of our book that tells you how to leave California. We've got a ton of other resources. So if you want to get out and get away from the craziness, reach out to us. If you're happy where you're at, make sure you stay.
Well, how can you change the negative narrative of Oakland? A new social media campaign launched today called Oakland is Better in Person. The goal is to promote positivity in the town in hopes of drawing more people back to the area.
Yeah. Oaktown. Oakland definitely in the house.
Here's NBC's Valina Jones.
This new campaign is all about changing the narrative here in Oakland. Its aim is to highlight Oakland's culture, businesses, and why this group says it's a beautiful place to live, work, and visit.
Till I die and you die.
It's a social media campaign they hope goes viral.
Like some bad virus you just can't shake.
Oakland, the most beautiful town there is.
There's no one that can tell Oakland's story and its unique beauty like the people who live there. That's where the Oakland is better in person social media campaign comes in.
How can we start owning our own narrative? What can we do to start building us forward and bring people out who have been discouraged?
Charlize Banks owns The Town Experience, a platform that focuses on highlighting all things Oakland.
What crime? What is this guy talking about?
Banks is partnering with business districts and using the power of social media to share stories from business owners and residents about why they think Oakland is better in person.
So warm, so inviting.
The hope is the constant push of positivity through videos and hashtags will help encourage people to visit Oakland and experience the town for themselves, from its culture to events. Instead of making judgments based on what they hear in crime reports.
And seeing what they see and feeling what they feel.
There's no place like home. There's no place like, okay, I just clicked my feet together 3 times. And the narrative is.
Wait, I got mine. There's no crime like Oakland. There's no crime like Oakland. There's no crime like Oakland.
They are finally starting to admit it. They're saying that all we have to do is say it and people will believe it. Like, I don't think it can go anymore. It's so crazy. So if you just say it's true, you say that she's going to be the best president, then she probably will be. Or if you say that he's going to be the best president, he probably will. It doesn't really have to do with what they do, what their actions are, what their policies are. None of that matters. All you have to do is just say it's so. Just like there's no place like home. No, what? No, Terry, stop it. This is not. What is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I think In-N-Out, they got it wrong because they closed. Denny's closed over there on Hagenberger, there over by the airport. Little Bear Diner, all of those businesses closed. Graffiti, trash, homeless, everywhere. Yeah, I want you to walk out of the BART station at 11 o'clock at night and tell me there's no place like Oakland, because there is no place like Oakland. I'm not saying that is necessarily in a positive way. And by the way, I don't recommend anybody walk out of the Oakland BART station at 11 o'clock at night because it might be your last trip.
Well, Terry, I taught martial arts for 35 years, so I never taught anybody in my life anything about self-defense where all you have to do is say that you're safe. I know I'm safe. I know I'm safe. If you're not in a safe place, it could be very, very dangerous. So be very careful what you wish for and be even more careful about what you think might be factual when we got to give them a taste of reality once in a while. Some of these shows, Terry, we're going to have to give them a dose of reality. We have to. Come on.
Well, and I don't doubt that there's good people in Oakland who are very dissatisfied with what's happening there. But you gotta look from the top down. Looks like you got a corrupt mayor who's been I had not convicted, but has been investigated by the FBI and currently. But let's face, Oakland's a mess. Oakland's a mess. I feel bad for the people that live there who are taxpayers and also people who obey the laws. But I'm telling you, if you think Oakland's the place to go, I got a bridge to sell you.
Well, just like we did in our last episode of Leaving California News, we said the state of the end, we got a surprise for you. We always have a surprise for you. We've got the handbook. We've got a network of realtors. We got people that can help get you out of California and welcome to America. So make sure you either message me or message Terry, and we'll talk to you soon. Craziness continues.